Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for being here, tuning in. So today we're going to paint a simple sky with some colorful fluffy clouds here, and that's it. And you can use this kind of tutorial and place it into a section of your painting and then add your details and water or whatever you want, So I hope you will enjoy this tutorial, and I hope you've been enjoying my tutorials lately. I'm really excited because I'm also inviting other creators and artists to join with me, and I'm working on right now building a series of CBF Presents where I feature other artists, and they'll be sharing their techniques and styles so that you guys can enjoy and take something from each artist and put it into your craft. Last week I released my first artist that I partnered with. Her name is Alice. She does beautiful resin artworks, and she shows you and takes you step by step how she works with it. So if you're interested, there's going to be a link up here to check that out. Also, for those that haven't heard yet, I released my new Painting Academy where I have 4 new lessons on there, and also other little lessons where I teach about mixing and teach about the different kind of paints and the canvases and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in learning more in-depth stuff, check out the link up here, and I hope to see you there. All right, let's go over the materials. Today we need a canvas of some sort, and I'm always using pretty much a 16 by 20 inch canvas for these tutorials, but you can use any size you'd like. Just know that if you're using a bigger canvas, you have to add a little bit more paint into your palette, right? And if you are using a smaller canvas, add a little less. So the amount of paint I'm mixing is for a 16 by 20 inch canvas. For paint, I always use acrylics, and we're gonna use my 24 set of acrylics right here, and I'll show you exactly which colors we're gonna use from this set. But any acrylics that you have available should work. We need titanium white, medium yellow, orange, crimson red, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, and lamp black. For brushes, we're going to need a couple of these blending brushes. These are exactly the same, just different color. One I like to use to dab my brush in the water, pick up my paint, and put it in quickly onto my canvas, and then all the colors. And then the second one, dry and softly blend everything in nicely, and I'll show you. So we need 2 of these. And also today I'm introducing my new 2 sizes down of the blending brushes. So I've been experimenting and testing. Also, I've had a lot of people ask me, what if they're painting smaller sections, right? And the bigger fluffy brush sometimes it's hard to get that smaller section to be blend, right? So I wanted to create something smaller for smaller areas, right? And we're going to be using 2 sizes down. So this is the smaller size, and this is the next size up, and then this one will be the biggest size, okay? So I'm working on making these available. They'll be out soon. Stay tuned for that. But we need a couple of these. And if you don't have these yet, that's okay. Use something like this, something fluffy, or also like any kind of maybe like a fluffy filbert style brush, right? Where you can swirl and try to blend everything in. I just find these, because they're a lot softer, a lot easier to work with. And I was able to make these available with working with acrylics, all right? So we need a couple of these, and then one of the number 4 Artist Loft brushes right here. I'm also currently working on making my own set, because I've had people message me and ask me about specific, sets that I use, and it's difficult because they're all scattered, and I have it all scattered in different places. So I want to bundle up and make it easier for you guys to be able to have access to these. So I'm also working on building my own set, but we need one of these right here. And finally, we're going to use the detail brush right here. Any kind of detail brush you have available. This is a number 0. And I think that's it for brushes. We need a water jar with water, some paper towels. We need a palette, and I'm using a palette paper over my palette, and then a palette knife to mix your paint. And then if you have a hair blow dryer, you can use this. This will be good to, once we add our first blend of coats, we'll dry everything out quickly, and then we will add more details so that we won't smear the paint around, all right? But if you don't have this, that's okay. Just wait, you know, acrylics tend to dry faster, so between 20 to 30 minutes and pretty much the background will be dry. All right, let's pick up our palette and our titanium white, and we're gonna create some colors first. And I like to start from the furthest distance and work my way closest. So I'm gonna add the sky, you know, the yellowish, you know, going into orange and blue and darker blue sky here. And then the clouds are coming in next, right? So we're gonna cover pretty much, you know, mostly we're gonna cover the whole thing pretty much. So let's just see what happens. So titanium white, and we're gonna create about 4 different colors, or 5. So I'm using about a little over a thumb amount, okay? And a little bit here, and then a little bit right here. Each time I'm adding a little less, so maybe a little less here, like this. And you know what? I think I always have to mix another color, so I'm gonna add a little touch of white right there. Right there, you see? A touch of white right there. So, and then medium yellow. Let's add it to the first one a bit, maybe like this, and then a little bit more here, and then a touch here. So a little bit here, a little more here, and about less here, okay? And now orange, we're gonna add, I'm gonna leave that there, and then I think I'm gonna add a little bit here. Okay, a little bit, not too much, and then a little more here, like this. Okay, like this. And that's it. Cerulean Blue, and we're gonna add about this much. And then Ultramarine Blue, and we're gonna add it about this much. So we might add more white here, but let's just see, let's mix what we have here and see what colors it gives us. And if we need to add more of white or whatever color, we'll do that, all right? So, and then also I'd like to remind you, if you don't have these colors, you know, with you, like Cerulean Blue, for example, right? Or orange, the way you mix that is use a little bit of red and yellow and you'll get some orange. And then this blue right here, the Cerulean Blue, don't worry about it. If you don't have it, just add a little bit of Ultramarine Blue to the white and it'll be fine. It'll do the same effect. It'll create an, you know, maybe the color might be a little different than mine, but that's okay. It should be different always. So there's no right or wrong how your sky will look, all right? It's all about having fun and, you know, just enjoying the time creating and seeing what happens. I never know how my pieces are going to turn out actually. So I just go straight to it. Like I just use the same kind of technique and I just go straight to it. I never know how it's gonna, I don't practice before or, you know, these tutorials. I mean, I'm just going straight to it and painting and seeing what happens. And the cool thing about acrylics is as you go, you can always correct as you go and add more layers and layers and layers. And the more you add, the more it's gonna pop out and stand out and look interesting. So just have fun with it, see where it takes you, okay? Palette knife, and our first color right here, it's going to be pretty bright as we can see, and let's mix all that in right here. Okay, that's good. Next should start turning into a orange color. That's nice. I like the smooth transition. From light to dark. So I might add a little bit more white to this one. It's a little too dark, I think, for the background. I want it to be a little lighter. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add some white, okay, onto this one. Just a little bit of white. Right here. Lighten it up. That's much better. Okay. Next, you don't really have to clean your palette knife. It's all going to be, you know, blended in together. So here, I think I'm also going to add a little more white. I don't want it to be too dark of a blue. Okay, so I'm going to add a little more white here, and I'm assuming some more white here, all right? Just a little more. Right here. All right, that's good. And then our final color. And that is also good. There you go. That's our color palette right here, going from light to the darker blue. And we're going to start with light, adding the lights here and transitioning to the darks up here. Now I'm going to clean my palette knife once I'm done mixing everything so the paint won't dry like this with a paper towel, and then pick up one of my blending brushes, it doesn't matter which one, and I'm going to dab it in the water all the way. Okay, and lightly and gently squeeze it out. Don't squeeze everything out, so you want to leave a little bit in there, okay? So there's still a little bit in there, but it's not dripping, okay? So it takes a little bit of practice to get the right amount of water in your brush, you know. So we're going to start with this yellow color right here. We're going to pick all that up, and remember I have some water in my brush, and we're going to pick all that paint up and just quickly, see that? See how smooth it feels in my canvas right here? It doesn't feel dry. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water lightly, just the tip, pick up more paint, and I'm going to randomly add it all over here. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water again so it can run smoothly, just a little bit. Pick up my next color, this lighter orange, and let's add it right in here, like this, okay, randomly. So remember, a lot of this is going to be covered with clouds, so I'm just going to cover it anyway. Okay, so a little bit of this orange, and I'm going to add it right in here. Okay, maybe use some of this yellow again. Okay, like this. Now I'm going to dab my brush in the water, take a little bit of this next orange color, and let's add it right in here. Okay, I like that orange. Right there, and then maybe in here on the bottom. So I'm going to dab my brush slightly in the water again so it can run smooth, and then let's add some right in here. Maybe make this a little darker with orange like this. All right, so next I'm gonna dab my brush in the water. I'm gonna actually clean out a little bit of that orange color, just a little bit, by lightly going like this, not pressing down, okay, but just lightly, and then squeeze part of it out. So not everything's gonna clean, but we want a little bit of that orange gone. And moving on to our next color, so I'm gonna dab my brush in the water, okay, and then picking up this color that we have mixed randomly, and let's just add it right in here. Okay, now this is all going to be mixed, so don't worry about spending too much time trying to make it perfect. Okay, so remember our clouds are going to be here somewhere. Okay, dab my brush in the water, and let's add that all around here. I'm going to cover it for fun. Now this is going to be covered. Actually, let's just cover it. Who cares? As a base coat. All right, and then let's add a little more. Okay, and then our final color, dab my brush in the water. Our final color right here. I know it looks messy, but bear with me. It's gonna look amazing once we blend everything in. Okay, our final color right here. Make sure you feel it soft, you see. If you have too much water, you'll see it dripping. You don't want that. You want to just make sure you feel that you're, you know, it's soft. It's running soft everywhere. Okay, there you go. So now I'm going to put my brush down, and quickly, this is a quicker process so that your paint won't dry so fast. So it's still a little wet, you can see, but with my second blending brush, I'm going to work dry, and I'm going to lightly press and swirl lightly, like dabbing it lightly and swirling it, okay? And you can walk around, and it's okay if it leaves some areas, you know, a little bit of more orange or whatever. It's fine. We just want to blend in the brush strokes and take those away. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So right here, you see how I'm randomly blending everything. Again, this part, there's gonna be clouds right here in the middle, so I'm not worried too much about blending this area. But I'll do it anyway. So mainly here, I want this area to be blended nicely. So I'm going to spend some time swirling and carrying the paint upwards. Okay. Okay, quickly blend that in, softly, take your time, don't rush it. Like I said, this middle part is going to be covered with different colors of clouds, so we mainly want the sides to be blended nicely. So mainly here. Okay, really quick. Take away all the, and I'm not pressing hard. Okay, there you go. Very nice, simple blend of the background. All right, so once you're done adding your first color, I'm going to clean out my brushes and get a new water so that they won't sit in the water too long. And while this dries, and then we'll continue drying everything out again with a hair blow dryer, and then we're going to add the clouds and shape them out and have fun, okay? All right, my brushes are clean. I got a new water. So you could see I have some paint left over here. I'm going to use, I don't want to let it go to waste, so I'm going to use these colors. So I'm going to put it, take the paint that I have available and mix it all into one. So I'm going to use this orange for sure. Okay, mix that. And I think I'm going to even add, you know, crimson red to it and more color to it. And we're going to use this as one of our shades for the clouds. Okay, and I think the other ones are pretty much gone. All right, so let's now mix some colors for the clouds. All right, so as you can see, I added a touch of crimson red right here into my orange, and then I added some white, okay, and a touch, you can see a very small amount of yellow, and then a touch of crimson red and ultramarine blue here, okay? So let's mix this one first. We want it to be like a darker color right here. That's good right there. I'm going to use that for sure. And let's mix. I'm going to clean out my palette nice so I won't carry the darks over to my lighter colors. So I'm going to mix the lightest color. It's basically the same thing, maybe a little lighter actually, because it has more white than like this color. It just has more white, okay? We want to make it look bright, our clouds, and fun. Okay, that's good right there. And our final color right here should be almost like our darkest blue color we mixed, but we added a touch of crimson red, so it might actually turn into a little bit of a purple color, which is great. We want it that for one of our shades, and obviously I might add another shade or a couple, we'll see. I'll probably add one more. So that's good right there. You can see we are getting some colors going on here. Now I want to make another color real quick, and we're going to start adding the shades and clouds into our sky. Alright, so I added a couple more. So I wanted a shade darker here, so I added Ultramarine Blue, Crimson Red, and a touch of Lemon Black here. So I'm going to take part of this actually, take part of it and mix it in. We might have to add a little more white, but this will be our darkest part of the cloud. So yes, I'm going to add a little bit more white to it so it won't be so intense, because that's a pretty dark change, but that's okay. We'll add a little bit of white, no problem. Okay. All right, you can see I added a little bit of white. I want to lighten it up a bit, and then it should be good. That's good right there. Yes. This will be our darkest color. Okay, and now I'm going to clean my palette knife and mix our final color, and we'll be good. So right here with a little bit of orange, what I'm going to do is take maybe part of this color, right, this one, just a little bit like this, and then mix it in here. Yeah, that's nice. Basically, what I'm doing is creating different kind of shades so that my clouds can stand out. I'm actually going to add some yellow as well, but we'll do that later. I think actually let's just do that. One more color. I know it sounds like I'm adding a lot, but I think I want to make my clouds very colorful. And so I'm going to add some medium yellow to make it stand out a little more, okay? So just medium yellow and maybe a touch of orange. And I'll show you exactly how much, but real quick. And so right there, medium yellow and a touch of orange. Maybe take part of this white, mix that in. Right in here, not too much. You could see I didn't add a lot. I'm going to use this bright color. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. So something like this, okay? Now we have a bunch of colors to play around with and with our clouds. So let's clean our palette knife and pick up our brush, number 4 brush, right here. And we're gonna first sketch out our clouds, right? And then add the details. So dab it in the water, number 4, all the way. And then squeeze the water out so it could be, you know, nice and damp, the brush. And first, what I'm going to do is sketch it out, right? So I'm going to use this lightest color here. Maybe dab my brush slightly, just a tip in the water so it can run smooth. I don't want a lot. And I'm going to sketch out my shape of my cloud, how I want it to be. So I'm going to have, you know, probably start from here, you know, and it's going to be looking a little fluffy. And it might go in here. And then okay, quickly sketch it out. I'm going to make it big, nice and fluffy and big. Okay, I'm just dabbing my brush, and water helps for the paint to run smoothly on the canvas. So I'm going to continue and making little, cloud shapes. Now this is first a sketch. We're not going to try to get it, perfect the first time, right? So, and then there's going to be another cloud somewhere in here coming up, and maybe it goes up even higher. It comes down, and then maybe it goes up all the way up until here, and it comes down right here somewhere. Okay, something like that. And then so let's continue with this one. I'm going to have it go all the way like this. And then it's going to fade in somewhere in here. One color. And let's quickly sketch our shape. Yours could look a little different. So have it come down, maybe there's another one that's going like this. And then of course it fades out somewhere in here. So there will be another like little dip here, but it's gonna start coming down right here. And then maybe fluffs up in here. And I'm going to have it fade out like in here somewhere like this. Okay. And so this will continue and fade out somewhere like this, and then this one will go and connect somewhere in there. And then there's going to be a lot of like little ones up in here far away. Okay. Now, you can take a step back, correct, your shape of your cloud if you want to make it bigger, or maybe like, for example, this area, I wanted to make it actually a little bit longer. Why not? Okay, and maybe have it okay, maybe there's a little cloud right in here somewhere, split up from the team. Okay, and then here, that's where all the little other clouds can appear. and have one that is and then maybe one underneath. Now I'm just sketching. Of course, it's going to look a lot different once I added my shapes of the clouds. It's going to look a lot different. A lot different. Okay, and that's all about, like I always say, it's all about the layers. You want to quickly add your layers and then add some more once you're happy with where it's going. Like I said, there's no right or wrong how your clouds look, as long as you know you can tell that it's clouds, right? All right, so that's basically the shape of the clouds that we're going to do today. I think I'm going to make some areas a little higher. Actually, maybe not yet. Let's first fill in this and see how it looks, and then if anything, I will make, you know, adjustments. And that's the cool thing, is you can easily make adjustments as you go. All right, so I'm going to continue with this light color and some water, and I'm going to start filling in the areas where I want the most light to be. So let's pretend, so the sun is going to be here hitting from this side, so it's going to be hitting on the left side of these clouds, right? And then the right side is going to be more darker, so it's going to keep that in mind. We're going to start from lightest going into darkest, okay? Because the light is hitting these clouds this way. So I'm going to start filling in. I'm going to dab my brush in the water and quickly filling in the areas where I think there's going to be more of that lighter color. Okay, quickly fill that in with a little bit of water, not too much. Okay, maybe it comes in here somewhere, and then so this area is going to be pretty bright. Okay, dabbing my brush in the water again, and quickly, this is the fun part, because there is no, you know, mistake in adding your clouds. Okay, and maybe a little bit more in here. Maybe some in here. All right, something like this. We might add a little more later, but that's good enough for now. maybe a little, some more in here randomly. Okay, for now that's good. All right, dabbing my brush in the water. The next color is, we're gonna add, let's add this orange that we have added, you see? And I'm dabbing my brush in the water, and I'm going to fill in some of the areas with a little bit of, wow, that's very bright orange, so I'm not gonna add too much of this yet. I like it, but I'm not gonna try to add too much of this yellow yet. I'm gonna quickly add a little bit with water, okay? A little bit, dabbing my brush in the water, and I'm going to add some details in here. Okay, not too much. All right, that's good enough. You could see it's still looking messy. Let's add some of this color really quickly. Mix it in with your orange, light orange. Maybe mix it all in. Mix it all in here. Dab it in. Make sure you dab your brush in the water. Use a little bit of this white and this color and fill it in quickly. All right. Dabbing my brush in the water, using this orange and a little bit of light. I'm gonna fill in this area. We're gonna go over a lot of this, so don't try to make it too perfect yet, okay? So, this color again, let's add it a little bit in here. Mix it in with your yellow a little bit. And all right, next, let us add this color. So let's use this and play with this and this color. Okay. And add it in there, right here, on some of the areas, all right, randomly. We basically are trying to get the base coat of our clouds. So maybe some in here, so that make sure your brushes run smoothly, and dab your brush on in the water. Pick up more of this paint, add some of this color in here. Okay, dabbing my brush in the water, maybe some in here, who knows. And it's okay if some of it goes down a little bit. Okay. We're going to come back to some of these clouds later. So dabbing my brush in water using this same color. Maybe mix it in with some of this lighter orange. All right, and then our final color, let's add a little bit in here and more of this. Dab my brush in the water, and the lightest color we have, this is the darkest right here, the color we have mixed, and let's just go over and add some of the darker areas of the clouds on this side. So dab my brush in the water. Now remember, we're gonna go over everything again. Okay. So don't spend too much time trying to, make it perfect. We're just adding the shadows and things like that. Cover that white area. That was just a sketch. So water and more of this color, and let's darken some of this area right in here. Right. And a little bit in here. I'm going to darken this area a little bit. you could see it's a rough sketch right here. We're gonna add more details, but let's quickly pick up our second blending brush that is a size down right here, right? And blend everything in, starting from lightest to darkest. And it's okay if it all looks messy. Start softly blending it in. And I'm not going outside the borders. I'm staying inside, lightly blending it all in. Because I added water, my paint doesn't dry so fast. So that's why I did that real fast, okay? So any kind of smooth, soft brush you have with you, quickly do that. And it's okay if some of the areas are a little bit rough looking. We just want to take away the brush strokes, okay? That's what we're trying to do. It's okay if you haven't blended everything in, okay? And don't try not to go outside the borders. See how nice that looks? A nice smooth blend. And we will have our base down of the clouds. Quickly blend that in. There you go. A nice quick blend right there. Now we have a shape we can kind of start seeing the picture forming, right? That's what we wanted. So now I'm gonna quickly dry this out, and then we're gonna continue, shaping everything out again, adding maybe some details in here. Actually, while this dries, might as well add those details real quick. So I'm gonna clean my brush real quick, and number 4, and make sure it has a little bit of water, so dab it in the water, but not too much. And let's use this color. Remember we have mixed? We haven't used this color yet, so let's just mix it all in, and let's add a little bit of that darker color right in here. And some of this is going to be very dark, so that's okay. We want it to stand out. So I'm going to add some lighter ones. So I'm going to go back to this color here. Maybe mix it in with my orange because it's a little bit too strong. Okay, so mix it in with this orange so it won't be so strong looking. Okay, I'm going to continue with this color, and I want to add some red in here. Now this is where I want this darker color to be. I want it to go down all the way, probably up in here. Dab it in the water lightly. Let's blend some of this in there. This orange, beautiful dark orange. Let's have it come up here. Fade out somewhere in there. play around with these two colors, you know. And I'm going to continue adding, maybe having it fade out somewhere in there, like lightly. Using this color. Use a little bit of the white. Make it a little lighter here. And you can use a little bit of this darker color and add some right in here. All right, now since you see we added a little bit of a smaller section, now we're going to use our smallest blending brush right here, very small one right here, and we're going to lightly try not to go outside the box, but if you do, that's okay. We'll just make it bigger, but lightly press and blend those in. Lightly. See how nice that works? Taking away all the brush strokes. And we're going to do that throughout this painting. We're going to do that, you know, effect. Really quickly blend everything in. Some areas are going to be, you know, a little rough, but that's okay. Sometimes clouds break up and look a little rough, right? So there you go. Now we have added a little bit more. We're going to continue adding some more, okay? So I'm going to put my blending brush in the water, and now I'm going to quickly dry this out so that I can add another layer. All right, now we can continue adding some more details. So let's start off with working from the top. Let's just work from the top all the way down. Let's just do that. You can work any way you want, from the bottom up. I would probably, yeah, let's just start from the top down. Okay, so I mixed some more white and a touch of yellow here because I ran out, and mixed this kind of orange color here with a little bit of yellow and white in it. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. So something between these colors, all right? So I added some more of these colors, and I still have some here that we mixed. So we're going to continue with these colors first. So my number 4 brush, and let's start with the lightest color here. Okay, and I'm going to start adding some more detail. All right, some more detail to my clouds. Now I'm going to start adding actually, you know, little details to shape out my clouds and make it look more even rounder and fluffier, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm lightly dabbing it and kind of swirling it and blending the colors out so it could smoothly transition. Okay, but don't overdo it. Don't cover the whole background area where you added your, you know, some areas could stay like this, you know, not too much. So let's continue adding that effect, and we're gonna blend it in and make it look more fluffier, right? So that's the fun part right in here. When you start to add all these little small details, it's so fun. So I'm going to continue, maybe cover a little bit of this area. And go in here a little bit, maybe it comes down. And it fades out like this, somewhere in there. Okay, we don't want to overdo it, so make sure you know when to stop. All right, and make sure your brush is damp, so it has a little bit of water, okay? Make sure it's not too dry, because then it's easier to blend and move the paint around when you have a little bit of water in your brush. Okay, now let's continue here. I'm going to make this area stand out a little bit. So I'm going to blend some of this out. What if it's far away, you know, misty kind of clouds? So you could see, because I have a little bit of water, you could see I can move my paint a lot nicer and softer. It blends everything in very nicely. So I'm going to continue. And I'm going to add the details right in here. I want to make this bright. And then blend it out. Okay. Little separations here and there. Okay, I'm going to dab my brush in the water again, and then use the same color, and let's add some of this lighter color. Continue adding it maybe in here. Want to make this area look a little more misty. So have it come down all the way up until this area. Make it all misty and nice. Okay, so now we can continue adding even more details. So I'm going to quickly use my little detail brush and squeeze the water out. And then I like to use a paper towel to lightly swirl it, all right, to fluff it back up lightly like this. And I'm going to work dry. It's a little damp, so it's going to move the paint around. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of this yellow color right in here. You know, really quick, not too much, to blend and make this area smoother, right? Look at that. Blend it all in. I'm basically trying to create a softer transition hitting these clouds, like a misty kind of look. All right, so I'm gonna do that a little bit right in here. Like this, that's good enough. And maybe even bring it out a little bit. Maybe some clouds are out, hanging around by themselves. And then you can lightly add some in here. Like this. And then with the blending brush, do the same thing. Lightly swirl it, and it gives a nice soft effect, glow effect. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue with this color. And let's just add our little details, right, in our clouds. Remember this area right here, I want to make it very bright, so I'm going to add some right in here. Okay, so one that will probably come up. And this one will fade out somewhere in here. So I'm going to dab my brush in water so it won't be drying out, and I'm going to continue adding my fluffy clouds in here. All right, and then let's add some sharp ones in here. Now we're going to go over some of this with our detail brush and really sharpen some of these nicely. So I'm going to continue with the same color and try to blend everything in and shape out my clouds, right? Okay, we will continue on here. Remember this cloud right in here. Some of these can be covered a little bit. And dab my brush lightly in the water. And now I'm going to use this lighter orange. I'm going to play around with this color and a touch of lighter orange, okay? Because we're getting into the lower areas and I don't want it to be too bright in here. So I'm going to add some fluffy clouds right in here. Have it fade out like this. Continue playing with this orange and yellow. And you can add a little darker orange in here for the bottom areas on some of them, okay, on some of these. Maybe a little bit of the light from the sunlight. Coming back to this orange, and we're going to add some in here. So here, I'm going to dab my brush in water. I'm going to use this color now. This and a little bit of this yellow color, right? I'm going to dim it down actually a little bit because we're going into the darker areas. So I don't want it to pop out too much. So here I'm going to create like a little cloud that fades out like this. Goes in here and maybe comes back up somewhere in here. Okay, you can create a lot of beautiful things. So I'm going to add that in here. Randomly. You could use the same technique, go back with your, little blending brush, right? Squeeze the water out, gently squeeze it, swirl it onto your dry paper towel, right? Lightly, and it's still a little damp, and lightly blend those in so it could look smoother, right? Like this. Lightly. Don't press too hard because you're going to start carrying the paint away. So, for example, look, I'm going to take, my brush is damp, so I'm going to take a little bit of this color and I'm going to add it, let's just add it right in here, right? Let's carry that lighter color right in here, and it creates a nice transition from light. Oops, let's add a little bit of yellow again. And it's just going back and forth until you're happy with it. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this brush first. So yellow and a little bit of this color that we have mixed. And let's continue adding here some details to this cloud, right? A little bit lighter in here, going on top right in here. And have it fade out. Okay. And of course you can, once you added that lighter color, you can come back to the dark color right here. Make sure your brush is damp, so dab it in the water and use some of this color to blend it in with your, color you just added so it could look smoother. Maybe even right here, for example, make this a little darker, right? Maybe in here. In here, I'm going to make it a little darker. Dab it in the water, use this color. And let's create a nice blend from this darker area. Not everywhere though. On some areas like this. Okay. make this a little darker in here. Felt like it needed to fade out. All right, let's continue. Let's go back to this lighter area. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water. No need to clean it. And I want to lighten this area a bit. Maybe not with orange. I added orange here, but I want to go back and cover it a little bit with this lighter purple color. And I want to have it fade out in here. Something like that. So maybe a little bit in here. And a little bit in here, right? So I'm going to clean my little blending brush again. Squeeze it out. Lightly swirl it, right? And it's a little damp. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this color randomly, just to have a little bit of color, and blend everything in to take away the brush strokes. And some areas could be rough looking, okay? I just want to blend a few areas lightly like this. All right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of orange this time and kind of make some of these areas a little softer, you know, from the light, a little softer. I don't want it to be too bright. So I'm going over and dimming them down. Okay. And even this area. Dim it down lightly with water. Don't be afraid. Maybe here you don't have to do it everywhere, but leave it as it is here. We want this area to be a little darker, but just mainly in here, and also in here as well. So I'm going to take some of this orange and going to create depth into my clouds here as well, lightly, right? Fade this one out a little bit, and maybe use a little bit of the white, and also go over where you added that orange. So here you can actually, so since I want to add a little more smaller brushes or smaller clouds here because I feel like it's a little empty, so I'm going to use this lighter orange right here, right? And I'm going to add some orange, maybe even mix it in with the white so it won't be too strong. I want to add a few lighter ones far away. Maybe some of them are splitting up from these clouds, you know. But you could see I'm trying to add very light orange so that you could kind of see them in the background. So maybe even some in here as well, lightly. Okay, so it won't look like it's empty here on the bottom. So I'm going to add a little bit of white and add some in here. Very, very lightly. And you could add as much as you want. Maybe in here, use a little bit of a darker orange, and let's add some darker ones in here. Maybe even go down right in here. Maybe it, you know, fades out somewhere deep in there, like this. Right? So here I'm going to try to lighten this area right in here on the bottom, so it won't stand out too much in here. And then go back to this darker color because I still like this color that we have mixed, and I want to add it on some of these. Okay, not everywhere, but on some of them. So maybe right here on the bottom. You know, play around. Play around. Maybe add it a little bit darker right here. So I'm going to dab my brush in water and play with the darker colors now, quickly. So let's add some of them in here. Maybe in here, I'm going to clean my brush. In here, maybe add a little bit of the black. Okay, so a touch of black, and then this purple that we have mixed, let's just take it all, mix it in with the black, right? And maybe even take some of this color. I want it to be a little darker, right there. Okay, like a little darker color right here. So I'm going to clean my palette knife, and I'm going to add this darker color in some of these areas in here. So very small amount, don't take too much, but like continue adding it right in here. Swirl it and fade it out. I want to create like a transition, you know, like there's depth. Like these clouds are a lot closer. See how nice that looks? That makes it stand out, this cloud. Now I'm not going to do that everywhere because I'm going to make my painting very, you know, dramatic looking, unless you like that. But I want to add it on a few areas where I think it needs a little more, you know, maybe some in here a little bit, not too much. So dab my brush lightly in the water, take more of this color that we have quickly mixed, and I want to add some red in here. I feel like this area could use a little bit of some darker, you know, tones. Okay. Maybe not on here. Okay. And I'm going to add some in here. And when you have too much water, it, you know, runs, it kind of doesn't cover enough. So make sure you dab your brush in a paper towel. That's what I'm doing so that it won't be too much of Alright, and if you don't want too much, you can come back to this lighter purple color, or even lighter color right here. I'm running out, but that's okay. Lighter color here, mix it all in, and blend it in with your dark tones where you added it, okay? If you don't want too much of that dark. Alright, so I'm going to add a little bit more in here. These areas are important to have because that is where the darkest parts of your clouds are going to be. Okay, I'm dabbing my brush lightly in the water, picking up more of this color, and I'm almost done adding this color, mainly on this side. Okay, once you're done adding that, I'm going to come back to the lighter color and blend those in really quickly with a little bit of this lighter color, right? And blend in, smooth the areas where it ends, and swirl it and blend it all and let it naturally go to its place. Even if you have to cover a little bit of what you've painted, that's fine. You can press a little bit harder to move the paint around. That helps. Okay. Okay, once I'm getting closer to finish, I added some white and a touch of yellow right here. I want a little bit of it. I don't want too much. Basically, I want it more leaning towards white. So this color will be our lightest color in the sky. So actually maybe add a little more yellow, but we want it to be brighter than the color we had here, okay? And from here, we will go back and quickly with our number 4 brush, clean it out, get all the dark colors out of there. And with a damp brush, we're just gonna pick up this color and go back and over right on the edge of your clouds. You're gonna go over and add the lightest colors to make them glow, okay? So that's what I'm gonna quickly do, and go over. And you can go over some of these, not everywhere, but some of them. Definitely around the edges mainly. Lightly. You could also do this with your detail brush, okay? So, whatever works easier for you. So maybe on some of these I'm gonna, brighten some of them. So once you're done doing that, you can come back with water and a little bit of yellow straight out of the tube. And I want to brighten some of this. I'm going to go over some of the white area where I added the lighter color and make it glow. Make some of them glow here with the yellow. Okay. Randomly add it, randomly, at random places. Okay, dab it in the water. Maybe some in here. And I want to add definitely in here. I want this area to really glow. So actually, what helps is also, these are the fine few details I'm going to do, and with my, let's use the M2 brush right here that we have, or if you have the bigger blending brush, that's okay, use that one too. But I'm going to use this one with a little bit of yellow and water, right? Not too much yellow. And I'm going to swirl it on some of this and really make it glow. I want it to be colorful. And spread that yellow around, right? Look at that. Spread that yellow around, don't be afraid. We want this area to glow very strongly. And spread it all around, maybe some in here. Add some of this yellow in here. And a little bit more, not too much. In here. It really, you know, makes things look more warm. And that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm gonna add a little bit in here. Even if you go a little bit off, that's okay. So, for example, if you go down here and you add that yellow right on the bottom here a little bit, that's totally fine, you know? Make it look interesting. And really the final thing to do is with a detail brush, dab it in the water and use this lightest color, swirl it in and use a little bit of water and this lightest color. We're gonna go over and just define things, make it more like, you know, for example here, I'm gonna, you know, have it come down and fade out like this, right? You don't need to necessarily do this if you don't want, if you're happy with your piece. But I want to create these nice sharp lines. For example, here, I want to have it come down, you know, and add a few of these sharper areas with water. And that's pretty much it. I'll do a few as an example, and you guys can take it from here. Right? A few little smaller ones far away. Alright guys, I added a few little birds as you could see up in here. You don't have to do that, but I thought it'd be awesome to make the sky look beautiful. Totally up to you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of how to paint the clouds, how I do it, and I hope you learned something from it and enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more. Take care and God bless.